Hello guys, let's discuss NIO Tesla SPY current state and market influences. China $137 billion investment and tomorrow's CPI release are pivotal. NIO 5-star safety rating in Euro cap and stable trading volume bode well. SPY fate depends on CPI data, with potential to surge or dip. Tesla bullish trend hinges on CPI. Apple, Nvidia, and QQQ are also tied to CPI outcomes. Stay tuned for post-CPI insights. Let's talk about what's happening with NIO Tesla SPY and some other tickers and how it's impacting the stock market. There have been some news that are affecting NIO and the market and how this stock is being influenced by certain data. Now, let's see what's happening in the market. Speaking of NIO, today it was up by 1.56%, and this upward trend was due to some unique economic factors. There was news that China intends to spend $137 billion to boost its economy, and investing in infrastructure can help improve the economies of various nations. However, the real question is how this money will be earned and where it will be utilized. This raises the question of whether this fund will be spent on projects and if it can directly enhance the economy. Despite this news, a new day is approaching, and we have some significant data that will affect NIO, the entire U.S. economy, and the stock market. So what data is coming out tomorrow? We have the CPI coming out, which will be released an hour before the market opens, and it's going to be very important. If this CPI has been rising on a year-over-year basis and is over 3.7%, it could be negative for the stock market. If it's lower, it could be favorable. But the market doesn't always react immediately. Sometimes reactions are delayed, so exercising caution when entering the market tomorrow is advisable. Moreover, we need definitive answers tomorrow because we have crucial data coming out, which includes the CPI. An increase in this can have a substantial impact, so we'll be watching it carefully. We'll also look at the signals in our currency markets, which can affect NIO, and we have our initial job claims report coming out with approximately 208,000 expected, along with the release of continuing job claims, expected to be around 1.66 million. So we will be closely watching everything tomorrow to see how it plays out. Regarding earnings, we have some earnings reports coming up for tomorrow. You can check out Domino's Pizza, Delta, and a few more. Then, on Friday, we have major bank earnings, which will be crucial for the market. The market started the day with an upward trend, then increased slightly. Market concerns were looming when we received news about the majority of the FED officials supporting future rate hikes, which was already known to the market. This news added more certainty to the market, and the market moved up a bit, which was a bit strange, but it helped NIO to hold its ground in a market that was becoming increasingly bearish. NIO also received news that it achieved a 5-star safety rating in Euro NCAP for all its models, providing the highest level of safety. Euro NGAP has tested this since 2020, so this is very exciting news for NIO because they are seeing a significant increase in safety scores. Their cars are also gaining more popularity in European markets, which is great for them. Now, NIO trading volume is approximately 34 million, which is quite impressive. It's also important to note that the short volume is relatively stable, and there haven't been significant changes in the price ratio. A rating from Deutsche Bank to buy the stock is on the horizon, and there haven't been any notable changes in short interest. So the data is looking good for NIO. As for what's going to happen tomorrow, I can't say for sure because it will depend on the CPI. If the CPI gives us favorable numbers, there's a good chance NIO could go above 9.3 and continue to rise, especially if we see inflation numbers meeting or falling below the target. However, if the CPI is higher, NIO could drop to around 8.75 or even as low as 8.6. We'll keep an eye on which direction things go. This will be crucial for NIO. For a SPY, this will be important as well. If we are bullish tomorrow, remember that in a bullish scenario, it can attempt to fill this gap, which could take it up to 438.68. If we succeed in filling this gap, we are still technically below. This is very close to the daily 50 EMA. I think we are just above it. We are closely watching the daily 50 EMA, If tomorrow we get CPI data that is hotter than projections, we can see SPY returning to around 430 or dropping below. This will be looked at very carefully. We'll see what happens from there. Regarding Tesla, I just want to say that Tesla is still doing well. It has a bullish cross on the daily chart. If we are truly bullish on Tesla, there is potential for it to go up to the 272.50 area. If it crosses 268, there is potential to take Tesla to the 270 to 272 range. If the CPI case is bearish, we can see Tesla dropping to the 260 area. If it goes down further, it could even reach 256 or 252. This will be looked at very carefully. We will see which path Tesla takes, but we will also see what happens in the case of CPI. For Apple, if we are bullish tomorrow, and if the CPI numbers look good, Apple can try to fill this gap up to 183. If Apple fails and bearish CPI data comes in, it can drop to the 178 area or even lower. The charts look somewhat bullish, but for safety, we should see what happens. In the context of NVIDIA, if we receive some bullish CPI numbers, we can attempt to see NVIDIA fill this gap up to 470, and if it surpasses 468, there is potential to reach the 472 range. If NVIDIA gets rejected at its current level and we receive unfavorable CPI news, it could retreat to fill the gap back down to 458 and then potentially even lower to levels around 455.7 or the 5 EMA or even lower. This should be closely monitored. And finally, for QQQ, if we are bullish tomorrow, it can potentially make the full measured move and start heading towards the 372.00 area, where initial support may form. If it fails to do so, it could drop down to the gap area at 368, and if it fails there, things could decline further to the 366 range or even lower. This should be carefully observed to see if it reaches 366 or bounces back up to 372.5. One last thing for NIO. If we get bearish CPI numbers tomorrow, NIO might look to fill this gap. And if the CPI comes in below or on par with expectations, it could even reach the mid-$9 range. 9.3 could be a target, which is near the previous resistance. Above that, there is also gap resistance at 9.5 on the daily chart. It's essential to keep an eye on this. And one last thing, after the CPI data is released, we'll get more insights. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more stock predictions and market insights. Remember to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Happy investing, and see you in the next video.